2 books in less than a week? Am I going to be able to finish both of these books as a toddler mom? I don't know, but let's find out. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexis Brianna. This is Bennington. He will not leave my lap. So we're gonna get started because I am about to start winding down, and I wanted to bring you along while I read 2 new books. I am gonna get started tonight with Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. It is a diverse YA fantasy. The main mythical creature of focus are mermaids, and I'm really excited about this series. It's actually a duology, and Natasha Bowen is a new to me author, so even though this is not on my TBR, I was like, I need to read this book. I'm really excited about it. And then the second book that I'm going to get started probably in the morning is Aphrodite and the Duke, and it is a diverse Regency romance, and I've heard it's like gives Bridgerton vibes, but on the diverse side, I know that the TV show is diverse, but the original book series was not. So I'm going to get started on that. And my goal is to finish both of these books in the vlog. We will see. We will see. I don't know. But that is my goal. So I think that's it. Grab something to drink, grab something to eat, and let's get to reading. Are you going to sit here the whole time? I'm about to get some reading in for the night before I shut it down, but I wanted to share just my initial thoughts on both of the books. And I'll start with Skin of the Sea because I'm going to read a few chapters of this before I go to sleep. I am just overall really enjoying the storytelling. I love that this is a departure from traditional fantasy and the way that it's mixing in, I believe it's West African. I believe it's West African mythology in with just the fantasy is really enjoyable. And I think that the way that the world building is happening is not overwhelming. I love how immersive her writing is. Like the way that she describes certain things, like you feel like you're in the world and you're experiencing it, like you can visually see it through just the way that she's describing things. So I really appreciate that. I will say though, I'm not a fan of going from past to present, or having like a ton of flashbacks. And there are quite a bit of flashbacks that happen. And so it's not necessarily my favorite parts, but they do provide context and history for the main female character. And you're able to get a better understanding of her backstory, her motives, and because of how she became to be a mommy wada, or that's what they call mermaids, but that how she became to be a mommy wada, because of the, how do I say it? There's certain circumstances in which I understand why there's flashbacks in order to give that context. I'm just personally don't love a ton of flashbacks going from past to present, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. It's just something that I wanted to mention because I don't have a strong preference towards it. What else? Oh, I was really surprised by the content warning, specifically because this is a YA. The content warnings are at the beginning of the book, which I really appreciate. I think that what I will say, I think that content warnings in certain books are missing. And so I really, really respect that she put them like really soon in the book before you even get to like the title page with the name of the book. So I did want to read it because I do think that it is important to know some of these trigger warnings before you get into this book. So it says, Skin of the Sea blends 5th century history with fantasy, and there are depictions of violence, enslavement, and death. And I can't say that last word because of YouTube, but it's basically depictions of people taking their own life. Yes. And in terms of all of those content warnings, all of that's happening within the first 8 chapters. Like, I mean, you get depictions of every bit of what she outlined in the first 8 chapters. And I will say, okay, I was surprised because it's a YA, but I also can appreciate how she has done it. She handles the topic of enslavement of the people of the continent of Africa and just the way history of that. I think that she handles it really, really well. It's brutal in the sense of it's a terrible thing. It's a horrible thing. Like, it's inhumane, it's all of those things. And so you get the emotional heaviness and the seriousness of that without there being pages and pages and pages of violence on the page. Similar to like a good comparison would be like Roots, for example. Well, I don't know if I'm dating myself there. Probably am, just a little bit. But you know, like how Roots, it was just straight no chaser. Like you got very, very brutal scenes, like in vivid detail. This is descriptive without it being that much in your face. You don't get that in this book. You get depictions, you get mentions of it. You even get like stories, glimpses into certain things, but it's not like pages and pages. But I do think that if you are triggered by that or reading anything like that, I do think that knowing that is helpful for the context of this book. What else? Oh, the main female character, I love her strength. I love her questioning norms and the things that are in front of her, while also at the same time, you know, there's so much that she doesn't know. So speaking of the main female character, the narrator of this book, I was not expecting her to be older. I was expecting a teenager or a young adult, or heck, even like a college age student. But the narrator of the story, while I do appreciate like being able to get correct pronunciations and just her inflections in her voice, I appreciate all of that. But I think I would have appreciated more a younger voice, specifically because some of the decisions that the main female character is making is that of someone who is a younger adult, right? Or a new adult. The last thing that I'll say just about the depictions and things like that, I think the way that she is intertwining the real history with fantasy and the worlds. I'm trying to, how can I say this? The way that she is intertwining it and the questions that are being raised based on how she is depicting certain things and the boundaries of certain beings and characters and things like that. It's bringing up, I think, interesting questions of like, what if, you know, or just, yes, I like some of the thoughts and the conversations that potentially could be pulled out based on the world building. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. The last thing that I will say is I'm also just enjoying the descriptiveness of the characters, just the banter between really the main three characters that we've seen so far. We're learning about other characters that I think that we will, you know, run into along the way on the quest. But really just enjoying just the banter and the relationship and the humanness, and the deities really remind me of the deities that are in Greek mythology, where they have very strong personalities and they just are an interesting host of characters. I'm definitely getting just the variety within the deities in this world. So really appreciating that. At this point in the story, we know what the quest is going to be, the end game, and we've gotten like the first step into like the first basically pit stop in order to like accomplish the goal in the quest. So yes, all that to say, all of that to say, I am enjoying this book so far and just am really appreciating the immersiveness and the culture within this story and its departure from traditional fantasy. I feel like that was long-winded, but enjoying the book. All right, so my thoughts on Aphrodite and the Duke. A couple of things. I appreciate a diverse Regency romance, but what I think is really interesting about this is the romance it's coming sooner. Like, we're not there yet, but I feel like we're gonna be there soon, and I find it interesting that it's coming so soon. Like, I personally, if the person who I think is going to be the main male character, if it's coming as soon as I think it is, I really would have preferred more groveling. just a personal preference. I think more groveling based on the circumstances was definitely warranted, but maybe there is going to be more. I am not there yet, and maybe there is going to be a little bit more groveling that's happening, but the way things are turning, I'm like, he needs to grovel just a little bit more. What else? Oh, the family. I am really loving the family and how they're interacting, all of their different personalities, and I can see so many spinoffs and stories from this family. And I know, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure there are 2 books, like outside of this one in the series. I think, pretty sure there are 2 other books, so definitely could see that because there's some funny characters within the story. The comparison though with Bridgerton, and maybe it's because I'm thinking of Bridgerton the show and not the book, I can get it from like the ton and the court and this being in season, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe the whole Bridgerton comparison is going to come a little bit later, but I'm not necessarily like seeing that. And I also have a limited knowledge of Bridgerton because I haven't watched all of the seasons or even like Queen Charlotte or anything like that. So maybe it could be me. It could be me. Maybe it is very much like Bridgerton and I am missing it. That is very well possible. Very well possible. But I think that in this story, it's gonna be second chance romance, the whole jilted lover. I'm also wondering, just to circle back on the romance coming soon, I'm like, if the romance does come soon, as I think it's gonna come, like there's a ton of book left. So what is, like, where are we going in the story? You know? Like what, there has to be something else. Like, is there going to be like a mystery kind of like Bridgerton, and maybe that's where the comparison comes in? Like there's a mystery aspect of it, like the romance. I don't know. I'm interested to see where the story goes. I did start listening to the audiobook. Probably, I think I started listening to around chapter 2 because I was like, I really want to keep reading. But again, I don't always have time to physically read or read on my phone. And so I have really enjoyed the narrator. In the book, I believe I got into 2 narrators, but there's 5. There are 5 narrators. I'm pretty sure. I counted 5. When they did the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. No, there's 4. 4. Yes. 4 narrators. I was like, okay. All right. That's interesting. But yes, I have not necessarily been one who has listened to dramatized versions of books with a whole host of characters or narrators. Usually the audiobooks that I listen to either have 1 or 2 narrators. No more than that. So I'm very interested to see the different voices and how it interplays and how it works with the book. But I do like the narrators that I've listened to so far. I haven't been enjoying, their inflections and their accents and things like that. So definitely have enjoyed the narrators for this book versus with Skin of the Sea. And I think that's it. I think those are all of my initial thoughts. I think I went over, I don't know. I'm getting tired, so let me just get some reading in and I will check in with you later. Okay, so where that last chapter left off on Skin of the Sea, it was like, what? Like all of that, and then that happened. I am really enjoying this book. It's very fast paced. I think that where the chapters are ending are very natural stopping points in the plot, and they make you want to keep reading past each chapter. If I had more pockets of time, I would definitely speed through this so quickly, but I've definitely been enjoying just the story and pairing it with Aphrodite and the Duke because they're so different in terms of just like the storytelling and just anyways, I'm really enjoying it. The atmospheric type of writing in terms of just the world is really enjoyable, and just the descriptiveness of just the writing yeah, I've been enjoying that aspect of this book. What else? Oh, the characters. Okay, so I'm really enjoying the characters, but what I will say is I wish we got more of the side characters. I think that part of me understands, right? Because this is a YA. So you can't go as deep as you would into some of the adult fantasies, right? Because you have to keep their attention. You have to keep things moving very quickly. So I think it's meeting that goal. It's just because I'm enjoying it so much, I want to learn more about the characters, learn more about the world. And so I think just because this world is so different than a lot of other fantasies that I have read, I think that this is definitely a very ambitious task that she has set before herself in terms of the world and just establishing things. But I do think that she has done a really good job, again, of keeping you just wanting more and just engaged in the story. Also, I am really enjoying just the theme, or maybe the conversation that is like underlying being discussed in the book around duty versus compassion and empathy. You know, I'm really loving that tug, that push and pull of some of those themes that are being pulled out of there. Oh, and the last thing so many thoughts on this book, but the last thing that I will say about this book is I'm also really enjoying that even though with the romance, I feel like it is coming sooner, I do think that there are higher stakes around the romance. Like sometimes I think when forbidden love or forbidden romance is done as a trope, it's like the stakes aren't really that high, or it's like it doesn't really feel forbidden. But I feel like the stakes around the potential romance, because this is just me assuming that the romance is coming. It has not come yet. I'm thinking that it's coming pretty soon. But anyways, all that to say, I do think that the stakes being higher make it more believable in terms of some of the thoughts around it. Don't want to give too much away, so I'm going to stop here and get to reading. Before I wind down for the night, I wanted to share a couple of my thoughts around Aphrodite and the Duke so far. I'm going to get a bit of coloring in, and I think I'll be able to listen to a couple of chapters of it tonight. But as of now, I am 43% in, and so many thoughts. Okay, I will start with the characters. I think the characters are my favorite part of the book so far. Just not even just the main characters, the side characters are just the way they've been written. They are full of personality, and they just bring their own mix, and just the dialogue and the banter between all of the different characters, including the main female character and her love interest, just all of the conversations. And that conversation, the conversation with Aphrodite and her mom, if you're reading the book, you will know the conversation I'm talking about. She read her down. Her mama was not mincing words and read Aphrodite down, and I loved every bit of it. I loved every bit of it. It was so good. It was so good. It was a it was just a dignified read. It was a dignified read, and I ate it up. So I really am just enjoying all of the characters. I would say that the pacing is like medium fastish. I'd say like in the beginning it's like slow going a little bit, but for me, I'm like, that's usual Regency romances. To me, most of them start out slow, but then that you get into it and then you see kind of where the pacing is going to go from there. And I would say we're settled on a medium to fast. And the reason why I say medium fast and not just medium is because I think because the romance is moving so quickly that it feels like it's going faster. And another thing, I apparently was not paying attention when I started this book, but this book is broken into 2 parts. And I think that the first part is like the main romance, and then the second part is like a settling into the romance and then getting into another plot. So my theory around that was definite. Well, I'll know in a couple of chapters. I will know if my theory was correct in that point. I understand why the romance is moving so quickly because it's Regency and just the politics and the things that kind of happen with Regency romances. That's not surprising, but I just feel like there should have been more groveling. There should have been more groveling. And even though we have not hit the peak romance, and technically there is still room for grovelations, I feel like there still should be more. There still should be more. And I understand the circumstances and what happened and all that. There still should be more groveling. It's probably the petty spirit in me, but I still enjoy the, I would say the tension between the two, the relationship and just their bond. I am enjoying that. I am enjoying that, but still more groveling. Still more groveling. Okay. Other than that, I would say, yeah, I think that's it around the characters, relationships, where the story is going. I feel like I know where we're going to go. I just don't want to like spoil it if you want to read it, but there are being seeds planted in terms of what part 2 could look like. And I will keep my thoughts. I will keep my thoughts to myself. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a spoiler at the end. Thoughts. I don't know. I got to figure it out, but I just don't want to ruin for you if you want to read the book yourself. All right. I think that's all of my thoughts around the book so far. Oh, one last thing. If you are someone who's like, is there any spice in this book? There are mentions of spice, but there have not been like any spicy scenes or anything like that. I do think that it's probably going to come just based on the vibes. And maybe there'll be closed door scenes. I don't know. But so far, 43% in, there have not been any spicy scenes. So if you're one of those people who are like, I don't know if I really want to read a romance with spice in it, then I'll definitely let you know if spice comes up later on in some other chapters. I'll just try to put a pin in that and try to remember and let you know if there is any like open door versus closed door scenes in terms of the romance part of it. I think that's it for sure this time. Pretty sure. All right, I'm just going to get some coloring in and see where this plot takes us. Okay, now that I have finished both books, I have so many thoughts, but I don't think I'm going to be able to share all of my thoughts because I have to hurry up and get out of here, and I don't want my daughter rushing in here. And then there's no ending to the log. It's just awkward because I didn't get to share all of my thoughts. Anyways, let's go over Aphrodite and the Duke. First, I absolutely love the story. I love the lightness and the airiness and just the funness of the story. It's one of those that is just a read for a good time. It's not one that you go into for deep philosophical thoughts and ruminations, and it's not that kind of book. It is a book purely for enjoyment. It is a good palate cleanser, and I also think it's a good book to pair with a book that is more serious or has deeper topics and tropes that are covered. So I'm really glad that I paired it with Skin of the Sea because it was a book that went into some of those deeper, more serious, and I would say like high emotion type of themes and tropes and things like that. So I do think that it's a good book for that. In terms of spice level, I don't think that it was that spicy. There were definitely some open door scenes that happened in part 2. I do think though, based on the writing and how it is, you can kind of tell that it's coming. So you would be able to skip past those. I think it would be harder probably to skip past those in audio. Like you could listen and then try to skip forward and then maybe skip back or like go back. I don't know. But if you're reading physically or if you're reading on your ebook, I do think that you could skip those scenes because they're not super long. They're not like pages and pages or a whole chapter long type of spicy scenes. Also, I am still in love with all of the Dubelle family and all of the characters, and I am definitely going to be reading the second book in the series because I really just enjoyed her writing. It was a good time. Now, the one thing that I will say about this book is I wish that it was longer. I think that there was so much more story that could have been told. And I think that because it was broken into 2 parts and where part 2 went, try not to give things away because I think I've talked a lot about the book, so I don't want to give part 2 away. But I will just say, I do think that there were a lot of plot, like the plot was really sped up in part 2, and I think that if it was slowed down, there was just so much more room for this story to be even fuller. So I do think that there were some aspects of it that were rushed, but I still think that it's still a good time and an enjoyable story because of the plot and the characters. It's just like, I just wish there was more. I wish there was more. And man, even if it was broken into 2 books, like part 1 was its own book, so it could have been longer, and then part 2 was its own book, I think that there was enough story there for 2 books. But still enjoyed it. Still gonna read the second book in the series and probably continue in the series. Oh, last thing, I am still not understanding the comparison with Bridgerton. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's because I haven't read the book. So I do think that maybe I'm going to read or maybe listen to the first book in the Bridgerton series because maybe the show is just very different than the book. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not understanding the comparison other than it being Regency. I don't understand the comparison. It could be me. Let me know down below if you've read both Aphrodite and the Duke and the first book in the Bridgerton series. Let me know if I'm missing something. Let me know if I'm missing something. Okay, Skin of the Sea. That ending, really no. It's not just the ending. The last, I would say like 7 or 8 chapters. Baby, my heart. I was not the twists and the turns, like, okay, I knew, I can't even say that would give it away. Okay, there were a couple of things that I saw coming, but there were a lot of things, I won't say a lot, I would say some things I saw coming, some things I did not see coming. Like I knew, okay, I will say this, I knew one of the characters was shifty and a little shady, but I didn't know. If you've read the book, you know the reveal. I was just, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see that one coming, but I am definitely going to be reading Soul of the Deep. I think that's what it's called. I keep calling the book Skin of the Deep, but it's Skin of the Sea, and the second book is Soul of the Deep. I keep just mixing those up for some reason, but anyways, I am definitely going to read Soul of the Deep because I have to know what happened. I have to know what happened. I think that the cliffhanger was done in a way where I want to know what happened, but I don't have to know what happens like now. Does that make sense? Like, it's one of those endings where it's like, it's kind of left on like a question mark, but it is kind of like an ending. So I could see this like existing as one book and that being the ending, but I also could see like where people would be mad if that was the ending. Real mad if that was the ending. But I am definitely going to read Soul of the Deep soon, just not too soon. I don't know. Sometimes I'm nervous about reading series back to back and just being over the world. But again, maybe I won't be over it because again, I think that Skin of the Sea could have been longer, similar to Aphrodite and the Duke. I think that there was so much mythology and just world building that we could have gotten. But again, I think I talked about this before. Maybe I did. I understand why it was shorter in terms of fantasy because it's a YA. Like a lot of YA fantasies are not that thick and you have to keep it moving. You have to keep the plot moving. So I understand why it wasn't thicker. Man, I still wanted more. But anyways, the last thing that I will say is I don't even know if I can express like how appreciative I am that like we are getting so many diverse and unique stories in the YA genre, specifically like diverse reads. Like I was so immersed in the world and I enjoyed it. I love the complexity of the characters and how some of them made me real mad. I think that's what makes a good book is like you feel really intensely about the characters. So I really enjoyed both of the books and let me know down below if you plan on getting either one of them or if you've read them yourself. I'd love to know. And if you've made it to this point in the video, welcome to the end of the video, crew. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I truly appreciate it. Be sure to drop a book emoji down in the comment section. I always love to know who's hung out with me to the end of the video, and I just love our conversations in the comment section. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a new video from me. Until the next time, happy reading. Bye, y'all.